and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and today we're doing the ornament number 7. This is the floss that I started out with, but I tried to reduce it down. Instead of 3, I reduced it down to 2, and that didn't work out. In fact, it came up so short that I ended up pretty much scrapping all of that string altogether. It turns out I need 4 skeins of all 6 colors in order to be able to cut them into quarters, so that way I have a long enough length to be able to make each of the segments. And that way I have, because the segments, though they're smaller than a bracelet, get joined together. And then once they're joined together, you need enough length to be able to make that segment work out as well. So then you are technically getting closer to an actual bracelet length. There was a lot scrap left over, but it sure beats my first attempt where I tried to do it with 2 skeins of each color. I thought that 3, I don't need so much. Maybe I can, cut corners, and yeah, that was pretty dreadful. The making the segment is a lot like making a bracelet. I took the middle of it and just tied a very, very loose knot. Remind you, you really want to make this thing loose because you're going to have to take it apart later on to be able to use that longer side. So the side that I'm making the segment on is getting used up, and then leaving the whole other side for joining. So, and I show you how that all works here a little bit later on, but I just kind of want you to understand it. It's a lot like making a bracelet, except for you don't have the really nice starting to it or anything. So that's nice. It makes it kind of easy. The pattern was deliberately made to be as easy as possible. I didn't want to worry about trying to overthink some kind of, really delicate pattern or whatever else. I kind of wanted this to be an ornament that pretty much anybody can throw together. And I really do think it turned out to be exactly that. Like, if you are interested in the ornaments, I know that I made some of them a little bit more complicated with putting kumi loops onto it and stuff. This one I kept it really simple. I just did braids and some tassels. So I think I've kind of made this one a little bit more beginner friendly. And again, the pattern itself for these little segments can be literally anything that you want. If you have a pattern that you really prefer doing, or maybe you're really a beginner and the best you can maybe conjure up is a chevron, that's fine. You just need to be able to make the segments. Now, to these segments, you need 2 of them in order to make the cross, and you need 2 crosses to make the whole ornament. So there's going to be 4 of these little segments right here that I'm making. I don't have videos for making all 4. They're all exactly the same, and so I kind of felt like there was no real point to that. Kind of wanted to keep the video down in length, so that way you'll watch the whole thing and you'll be able to see what to do. But yeah, so I had to make 4 of these. I did put the first 2 together before starting the next 2, but that's just a thing I did. It's not necessary. You can do it in whatever order. If it's easier for to do the 4 out the gate first, then that's fine. You're going to need a couple clips though. So I have 1 clip holding this one piece here, but when you go to join the 2, you really want to have 2 separate clips, so that way you can get the alignment really, really good and hold everything into place while you're getting the other part of the cross part of it together. So yeah, that's just so you know, you'll want to have at least 2 clips on your clipboard. This would be super difficult with tape. If you're one of those people who tapes your bracelets, honestly, now would be a really good chance for you to go and get yourself some good binder clips to hold things in place. It'll be a whole lot easier for you, trust me. I've been doing bracelets for a long time, and yeah, you're trying to get these things lined up and keeping them aligned. Yeah, it's a bit of a trick, especially if you're trying to make it look really nice, which I did. I really wanted it to look good. So So there's the first segment. And there's that loose nut that I was telling you that you just need to take that out. So that way you can join the longer pieces of the strings together. So, and then I had to kind of sort out the top half from the bottom half here, which, yeah. Yeah, so there's one. And once you get it divided from the top half and the bottom half, see how I split that together? And then there's the two clips, just like I said. And yeah, finessing these right into place and getting them, you know, to cooperate will make all the difference in the world. Yeah, that knot didn't want to go in at first. Because you want this to have a nice clean look. And so it's a little bit tricky. There's a little bit of finessing involved. But take your time and it'll come out looking really cool. I think this turned out amazing, honestly. So yeah, and it's the same pattern. It just gets done from the two pieces instead of just by itself. And that's partly what makes the center of this thing look really, really cool, is the way that, you know, four of them kind of all come together. It's a really neat look. So there you go. And yeah, you can totally plan that out if you're trying to think of other patterns to do, because you'll see like it ends up with like 4 dots of the light colored red with the green around it. That can totally be whatever you choose, you know, depending on the pattern that you pick. But yeah, it's something that you can kind of think about, like, how do you want the center to look? You know, do you want it to be busy? Do you want it to be plain? Because even a chevron is going to have an effect where you're going to have colors right next to each other because of the way that they join, the way that the color is at the top. So yeah. So at this point, it's no longer about joining. Now it's just making the same kind of segment that you already did. So again, if you pick a pattern that is easy for you, in my case, it's something that has a bit of the arrowhead design. But if you pick a pattern that's easy to you, you just have to make essentially 8 versions of it, right? So you have the first 2 that get joined, and then you get 2 more out of that, and then you make a whole nother one of those. So it's 8 segments get made. So this definitely takes longer than just making a bracelet. This took me a couple days to actually put the whole thing together. Mind you, there was a lot of other stuff going on, and it wasn't like I had the, you know, full 8 hours or 10 hours or whatever to put towards it. But it does take longer than just a single bracelet to make, because there's a lot here. It's a lot of knots. Okay, so yeah, finished one segment, flip it around, and then you go the other way. If you hadn't, you know, that's how you get the cross out of it. And yeah, so once you have their cross, obviously you work on the second one, and then it's going to be all about joining it. And in my case, I used a stitching pony to hold it together. That's not necessary. It definitely made it easier for me, but it's just a matter of holding them together or clipping them together and then tying the knots and finish it off like it was a bracelet. And then I tied all the strings into one great big knot just to keep anything from coming undone. And then I did that for 3 out of the 4 sides. And the last one, what I did was I brought it together like I finished a bracelet and then braided it, and then brought the other sides together like a regular bracelet and braided that one. So that way I would have a loop and something to be able to hang it up, you know, from. So yeah. And then from there, it's just about kind of pulling it and adjusting it to kind of make it rounder. Otherwise it would naturally just sit really, really flat. But if you kind of broaden it out a little bit better, it looks kind of cooler that way. So Again, I tried to make this one as easy as possible for you guys. No fancy kumis or anything else. Just a simple braid at the top. But yeah, there's not a whole lot more to it, really, honestly. The putting together the segments and stuff, that's probably the most difficult part of the whole thing, is trying to join the pieces together. But as you can see, it's really, if you've been making bracelets for a while, it's not that bad. And here's the whole cross. You just got string going in all directions, which is a little bit crazy, but you can see how I was talking about the center. It just looks really cool, right? I like how there's a lot of green and red and very little of the purple, just because, you know, it's supposed to be, you know, an ornament, right? So like kind of Christmassy. So here's the stitching pony, and you can kind of see I just used square knots to tie the two sides together, and then, you know, set that aside, go to the next one, and just ran up the series to do it. Again, it made it easier, but it's not necessary. It's just I happen to have one around because I do leather work from time to time, and stitching leather with one of these things is a whole lot easier. So, and you can see I'm just, you know, having to figure out, you know, the red to the red, green to the green, yellow to yellow, that kind, or red to the red, I guess, not yellow. But joining them together like that, and then like the purple goes, well, the second strings tie over the first, then the third one ties over the second and first, and then the fourth one, right? Just the way that you basically finish up a bracelet to have a nice even sides. That's all that went into it. So yeah, I think it turned out cool. I am open to any kind of questions you guys have. Hopefully I've given you enough to be able to figure out how to do all of this stuff yourself. But yeah, this is, I think it turned out really, really super cool. Yeah, you can see bringing it in towards the center. And yeah, so see, there's the light one. Take the dark one, goes over top of it. And then take those two, the next group goes over top of that. And mind you, because all my strings are doubled up, it makes it really, really thick. You don't necessarily have to have your strings doubled up. You could have saved some string if you don't double your floss. So, but since I do, that's where it is, and that's how much it took for me. So, yeah, if you're tight on floss, you could do the single stranded. You might have to make your segments a little bit longer if you want the same kind of length as mine. But yeah, that way you would be able to actually get away with having two skeins of each color if that was something that you were interested in doing. I'm just now kind of thinking of that. So yeah, but you can see, yeah, with the stitching pony, it makes it real kind of easy to, you know, twist things around and be able to bring it together really nice. So it basically, it just clamps like that, and then you're actually sitting on part of the board that holds it in place. So that's what makes it really nice and convenient. Yeah, just pull some strands to really make sure that's in there tight. Hit the release, and there we go, just like that. And here we go. So this is actually it. Like I said, it's just I did one side up and braided it, did the other side up and braided that, and then these are the other ones that have the tassels, and I tried to cut them all to the same length, give or take. And yeah, hopefully this answers any kind of questions you have. If you do have questions, leave it down in the comments, and I will do my best to get back and help you. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching, and as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.